Welcome to this Perceptive Readers Podcast. Hi, I'm James Lynch. There are many recreational aspects to the matters that stimulate our hearts and minds in this earthly plane. This has often been welcome getaways to playing board games with family and friends, to science with the flair of fiction. The Sage Poetic. Hi, I'm James Lynch and welcome to this Perceptive Reader's Moment. Science fiction, Star Trek, Star Wars, and many other sci-fi movies and entertainment that has been produced over the years. Did you know during the 50s and 60s, that's when they really took off, even though they didn't have the technology, the special effects and everything today. But for that time, even the special effects that were used, you couldn't tell the people who were watching the shows any different. What was used a lot, along with the special effects that they employed in their movies and things of that nature, happened to be music, the powerful sounds to it that you could really feel when this spaceship was landing or this big robot was about to come out the ship. When just listening to that music was enough to make you say, "Ooh!" I mean, you really felt it. Now, I just wanted to share that in the beginning because I wanted to also share with you that on booknet.com, I just placed another book on there, and it's called A Child's Vision of Star Trek. You know, it's a ebook, small ebook, compact ebook, but it's something that I think you will find interesting all the same. And I want to make you aware of what items would be going into that ebook even throughout the year. Okay. Of course, you heard in the title, A Child's Vision in Star Trek. The book is actually called the Perceptive, Journal or Perceptive Reader Journal from James Lynch. In the podcast, The Perceptive Readers, over the years, you've heard me reference Star Trek and the effect that it had on not only one child's mind, but many, even the adults. And these were reports and comments made on other websites throughout the years, with some persons that you would even call Trekkies. You see, talk about a common ground or a coffee room conversation type thing, But you've heard me mention that Star Trek was more than just an action show. The writing by Gene Roddenberry, his vision, it certainly had a purpose to it. And so it's always enjoyable, you see, when not only when we can be entertained, but then there's like if you want to call it a moral lesson at times, okay? Or just something that helps you to appreciate where this mind frame of a person, where they're coming from. And so the same way that, music, which many musicians and artists have done a great job with, express themselves through it, so you could really, feel to the depth of your soul that, oh, yes, this is how I'm feeling. Or if it happens to be even about a social issue, hey, if they felt something was not right, then you felt it as well. And this is very important. And I'm going to share with you in another second why. But I just want you to know that you've heard me mention that for even Star Trek, every single episode, which I never thought about it, but from the originals all the way up to the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and there was one more. Oh my goodness. And it took me a while, to catch on to it. And I feel, I shouldn't even say that, because the person might say, he didn't mention our show, where I'll probably do it in the future or something in the book. But you can see which ones, really, from a young age, I was able to watch, or as I got older, at least record them and then watch them at a time that, I wouldn't be, rushing around, having to do too many other things. Sometimes, for me, just like right now, it's, late at night for some, or it might be early in the morning for others, but I have a cup of coffee and I'm able to sit here and talk to you on this podcast about this subject of, Star Trek. But you see, one of the things that I mentioned in Star Trek is that the writing was interesting and exciting and intriguing at times, because of what Gene Roddenberry mentioned, even in the social aspects of things. Yes, even ethics, which you will see in that book that is now on BookNet, called A Child's Vision in Star Trek. And the other point that I mentioned too was about how I said almost every episode. Yeah, now that's getting back to how I started. Every episode, I could tell you something about it. It's like, as soon as it comes on, I don't always mix the, action right in the beginning, or the theme right in the beginning, with the title. But normally within the first few seconds of the show, I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember it all the way through, you see. And so, from time to time, I mentioned to you, and it used to be during the winter months, but here we're going through on spring. But Star Trek has been on syndication and everything else all throughout the year, so you can always catch an episode here or there or what have you. But normally just being able to see, just a few minutes of it, you can remember, what was the gist? What was the theme? What was the focus that Gene Roddenberry and the writers were wanting to get across in this episode? So, in this book, I will write about those things, from time to time. Now, you may see this book already it's just 4 chapters, because it's 3 chapters of commentary and information already. As I said, it's a compact book, but the 4th one concludes with some poetry, you see. Concludes with some poetry. And so it's really complete within itself. And that's why you may see this book already as the first one around the world as such. But I wanted to let you know that in my writing portfolio, I actually still have other chapters and things that would be written and posted from time to time. And BookNet happens to be, again, a nice place for me to put it. Why? Because one, it is good to get a nice following. If you visit BookNet, please give it a follow. Perceptive Reader is my pen name there. You can see, because it still goes along with the Perceptive Readers podcast. But please give it a follow. What that will allow is, if you get so many hundreds of followers, okay, then you can actually put books out there and start even selling it from there. There are some other benefits to that. So I wanted to make you aware of that. Now, of course, as you know, my main focus again is an audiobook, okay? Which, again, most likely I could see myself in the future. It's not really planned, set in stone for me into making into some type of audiobook. But this brings me to the next subject that still deals with the GWPF, or Graduation with the Poetry Flair book that you heard me talk about, and I started writing back in 2020, and it's moving along. I told you this book could actually be more than 100,000 words, as a novel. But my goal really is to make a once again very exciting book, informative book, even filled with poetry that would be only about 40,000 words, you see. And I ended up sharing with you that I would put 10 chapters on BookNet, and depending on the response, and see again the following and things of that nature, I may continue on there, or I may just leave those 10 as they are, as I continue to work on the book in other places. So it's really up to you. It's up to your response. It's up to your feedback on whether you'll be able to see the whole book all the way through on BookNet. And you heard me joke about it in the beginning when I first was talking about it, that yes, this audiobook, whether you are listening to it through some other, app reader or not, and I stand by this. I said the way that it would be produced and everything that's involved with creating this wonderful book that you can share with, yourself, if you're graduating, a family member, a friend. Hey, some people may just want to buy it, anyway, just for memories, the audio book form and things of that nature, that you would love it, that you would absolutely love it over coffee, glass of wine, or who knows, I don't know. You might want to take it on vacation or something and listen to it on the drive, but you would love it. And I said, it would be nothing like, some app reader or what have you, because of the effort and the persons being used to create it. All right. So that's just one aspect of the book. There's a lot more to it that I haven't even shared with you on. And it's something that I've, really had in the planning, even when I first started writing the book. But, there's some things that I just won't share until the very, it gets very close to when I'm going to release it. And I'm going to share something that some people might be like, oh, man, I wish she wouldn't do this like that. Just know this. People have to make decisions, all the time based off of their circumstances, and even dealing with aspects of the business, so to speak, that you won't even know about. So you may hear somebody say, well, a group of people did it like this way, all the way over there. Yes, but when you look at everything that's involved in the environment and everything that they were pertaining to, the resources that they had, or maybe didn't, or lack of resources, it all factors in to what they say, this is the best decision for me. Well, all you have to do is continue to reference your history with me and listening to the Perceptive Readers, so you know what's involved whenever I put out a project or what have you. And so that's why, as I make this next statement, you see, depending on, as I told you, the following with BookNet, your responses and things of that nature, it actually does factor in just how much will go into continuing after, chapter 10, which I'm getting pretty close. I think I'm on chapter 7 right now. And the information that I already got planned, chapter 10, probably I'll be there even before, with the spring end or what have you. But if you want to continue to see the development of this book, the written form version, hey, give it a follow on BookNet. So with that, you can, once again, look forward to other projects, just like I just mentioned, A Child's Vision in Star Trek, that, hey, you can place that in your library, and I might have something neat for you for time to time and this and that. And I'll just give you a little insight to my method on this, because remember I told you different people do different things. See, my writing for me has always been very personal, and that's why it's called, even on the Star Trek, a James Lynch journal or what have you. See, there are some things that I've written over the years that were just meant for me and maybe a good friend that I might share with, or something of that nature. The times have changed. The environment has changed in such a way, which I won't even go into now. So I'm like, okay, this is the way I'm just going to do it now. Some of these writings at one time would have just been, again, like I said, my own, until I was just ready to place them out there if I wanted to place them at all, you see. And however, as I said, this is just the way I'm doing it now, because some of you certainly understand this type of business decision. So anyway, go to booknet.com. Look me up under Perceptive Reader. You have, like I said, if you're a Trekkie, you'll appreciate this book and some of the updates that's added from time to time. As I said before, at least the first 4 chapters of the ebook is already in other outlets, that you can just have it as a standalone there. But you keep checking back on BookNet and you'll see something pop up, from time to time. So thank you for, again, caring and sharing this information. Hey, have a wonderful, wonderful day. You have just listened to the Perceptive Readers Podcast. Remember, until next time, if you read something that encourages you to improve or enhance your life for the better, it becomes your reality.